What's going on, everybody? Today we are back with another tasty recipe. I know I hyped up last week's smash burger bowls, and don't get me wrong, they were exceptional, but this King Ranch casserole, it competes. Honestly, it competes. So let's jump into how to make it. We'll start with getting our chicken cooked. In a sheet tray here, I have roughly 1,000 grams of chicken breast, which we'll hit with some oil, and then we'll season with 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, and then 1 teaspoon of chipotle chili powder, or you can do 2 teaspoons if you want a little bit spicier, but I wasn't feeling that dangerous this week, so I just went with 1. But just get the chicken seasoned, and then we can bring it over to a skillet set on medium-high heat, which I've already oiled, and then just set in our chicken. We're going to utilize the standard sear then bake technique, so right now we're just looking for some color on the chicken. We're not looking to cook it all the way. And then once the chicken has some color on both sides, I'm just going to remove it and set it onto a sheet tray, which I'll just throw in the oven at 450 until the chicken reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit internally. Alright, now to the same pan, let's add in some more oil, and then we'll toss in 250 grams of diced yellow onion, 250 grams of diced red bell pepper, and then 175 grams of diced poblano pepper. We'll hit these with a pinch of salt, some black pepper, some chili powder, and then some ground cumin as well, about half a teaspoon each. And then we'll just toss all of this together. We'll let our vegetables cook down and start to caramelize for a couple minutes, get all of that fond off the bottom of the pan, and then once we're there, we can go ahead and add in 3 cloves of minced garlic to the center of the pan here, and just let this toast for a second. And once it becomes fragrant, then we can toss all of this together as well. Alright, now we'll add in 30 grams of finely diced jalapeno, and you can add this in with the onions and bell pepper. I don't know why I added it so late, but just go ahead and toss all of this together. And then we'll add in 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour and start to mix this together. We want to give it a second or so to cook off some of the raw flour taste before we add anything next. But after a minute or so, what I'm going to start to do is just add in 150 grams of chicken stock. This combination of flour and chicken stock will help thicken our vegetable mix a little bit and add some base to it. But just go ahead and let it simmer for a couple minutes until the sauce is as thick as you want it. But once it's where you like it, we can go ahead and add a few more things here. So we'll add in 1 12-ounce can of fire-roasted diced tomatoes, and then 1 4-ounce can of diced green chilies. We'll hit this with some salt and then mix everything together. Now we can go in with 75 grams of light sour cream as well, which will add a nice creaminess to the dish. So mix this in as well, and I wanted my sauce a little bit thicker, so I just let it simmer for another couple minutes, but this is just an optional step. So once the sauce is where you like it, we'll also add in half a cup of chopped cilantro. Then after that, we can add all of our chicken back in. As you can see, I just diced up off to the side here. So incorporate all of this, make sure it's distributed evenly, and then we can get on with the baking step. Alright, so I have a standard baking tray here, which I'll just spray with some oil to prevent any sticking. And then we'll follow a simple procedure. We'll add in a base layer of our chicken and vegetable mix, getting that spread across the bottom of the pan like so. And then we'll take 3 to 4 corn tortillas, which I just cut into quarts as you can see, and then just go ahead and cover that bottom layer of chicken and vegetables. Next, we'll simply add another layer of our chicken mix on top of that, and then we'll add in 120 grams of Monterrey Jack and cheddar cheese, or 60 grams each. Now, I'm not adding all 120 grams here, I'm just adding half of that mix, but just go ahead and get that spread out evenly, and then we can go ahead and top this off with another 3 to 4 corn tortillas, and then on top of that, we can finish it off with the remainder of our chicken and vegetables, and then the remainder of our cheese, which would be roughly another 60 grams or so. Alright, now with all this set, we can throw it in a 400 degree Fahrenheit oven for about 10 to 15 minutes, or really until the cheese is starting to get nicely melted and caramelized, and then we'll be ready to prep. Alright, so mine's looking good, so I'm going to go ahead and start prepping. Obviously, these casseroles are pretty easy to prep. We're basically just transferring it from one container to another, so nothing terribly complicated here. I'm going to finish mine with some fresh cilantro over the top, but that's totally optional, of course. You don't have to do that. But in any event, this casserole was awesome. Literally, after I took the first bite, I texted my fiance that we need to have this for dinner the following week. I mean, it's a pretty solid dish. There's no question about that. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back next week with more.